Today I'm talking you through the infamous Tower of Terror. I do want to try and give you as much information as I possibly can on this. One of the little tips I'm going to give you while we're outside is if you ever see the wait time at 13 minutes, that means walk on. They're trying to keep the theme going. This attraction was originally inspired by the Twilight Zone series, and there are many nods throughout. You can see as you're walking through the wait queue how much effort that they put in to adding the atmosphere to this attraction. An interesting fact about this attraction is it actually only took about a year to build. What I mean by build is as it was starting from the ground up, a lot of the parts were actually made elsewhere and then was brought in and just needed to be put up. One of the things that shocked me the most to learn about this attraction is actually about the lobby area. I was under the impression, like I'm sure many of you are, that often these artifacts that you see are replicas. That is not actually the case. Most of the items that you see in the lobby area are actually 100 years or older. When looking into building this attraction, the Imagineers would go around a lot of estate sales, and often the people that were selling the items were not the people that knew what they were worth, so they got them for a lot less than you would expect, and they have since done research on these items. There is actually a large binder kept that documents all the artifacts that they have here. One of my friends who was on a backstage tour with me here was actually started to get very nervous when she heard this fact. She used to work at a museum and wondered why a lot of these items weren't behind glass. A lot of these items do come from Hollywood, from the chandeliers that come from an old theatre to the chairs either side of the fireplace that come from an old club. The history doesn't just stop in the lobby. Even in the libraries, there are some items that are true. For example, in one of the two libraries, there's actually a first edition Lewis Carroll book in one of the cabinets. You may notice as I show you the pre-video that the presenter is actually the same as the original Twilight Zone series. That is true. This is actually made up of different scenes from the original series put together to create this one long video.
Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You just crossed over into the Twilight Zone. Hollywood, 1939. Amid the glitz and the glitter of a bustling young movie town at the height of its golden age, the Hollywood Tower Hotel was a star in its own right, a beacon for the show business elite. Now, something is about to happen that will change all that. On an evening very much like the one we have just witnessed. Tonight's story of the Twilight Zone is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction. This, as you may recognize, is a maintenance service elevator, still in operation, waiting for you. We invite you, if you dare, to step aboard because in tonight's episode, you are the star, and this elevator travels directly to the Twilight Zone.
As you head out of the library and into the boiler room, the details do not stop. It's actually said that if all of the items in the boiler room were properly put together, they would actually be workable. Contrary to popular belief, Tower of Terror is not actually a free-fall attraction. There's not only the traditional line above your head holding you up, there's also another line underneath you, and that is actually going to pull you down faster than the speed of gravity. Originally, when this attraction opened, it was a full drop. However, due to many different circumstances, they did change this. After you finished with your drop sequence and are going backwards, you may want to keep an eye out in this area if you're not too shaken. You might notice one of two dummies. These dummies are actually called Caesar, and they are a reference to one of the episodes of the Twilight Zone series. He is also one of the few references still left to smoking here in Walt Disney World. There is also some superstition around certain cast members that will tell you they have to go and greet Caesar in the morning. There are many different references and details as you exit the attraction, but you may be too busy looking at your photo or going to see the merchandise. You might notice a chalk drawing on the wall that's another reference to one of the Twilight Zone episodes. As you're looking at your photos, you may notice this area underneath. This is a storage area, and it actually goes a lot further than you would expect. What's really cute about this area is there's not just references to the Twilight Zone series, but there's also references to specific cast members. So a lot of cast members who work here at Tower of Terror will often get old style trunks to travel to and from work. Now you may notice one of these on the far right hand side of the top shelf in the storage area that actually used to belong to a cast member who is no longer working at the attraction. When she left, she decided that she wanted to leave that behind, asked for permission, and they nailed it down. All those stickers that are on the side are actually places she really went to. At the end of an episode of any show, you're likely to see the credits rolling. So if you actually look behind this plant, you'll see the Sunset Room, and that actually is a list of people who were involved in making this attraction become a reality. Back when the attraction first opened, there was actually a wall that used to separate the merchandise location. Unfortunately, this did make it very small, and a lot of people passed by it, but the idea was to make it feel more like a real hotel. There are some additional references to the Twilight Zone in here as well. Normally there is a reference to the Twilight Zone behind the register up on the top of the unit. It doesn't seem to be here right now, but definitely keep your eye out. There's normally a doll up there. That doll was in an episode of the Twilight Zone, and she would talk, but eventually she would actually go on to say worse and worse things, including how she wanted to kill you. So unfortunately that's not very Disney friendly, so she was actually stopped from talking, and I'm not quite sure where she is right now. The newest Twilight Zone reference has actually only just arrived recently, and that is a very small one. It's actually this thimble up on the unit just by the door. Now this again is a reference to a specific episode. I've never watched the original series, so I unfortunately would not be able to tell you which episode it's from, but if you are somebody that's interested in that, you can definitely look it up. I really hope you've enjoyed my tour of Hollywood Tower Hotel, Tower of Terror, and I hope to see you again soon.